Well, hello.
Hey.
How are things going? You're a busy guy.
I am best when I'm busy. I love it when it's like I can barely keep my head above water, and right now is one of those times with Cash Cab in pre-production, getting ready to set to tape another season 8 in Toronto next week.
That's insane. Season 8. I mean, what has that been like? Because, I mean, are you recognized all over the place for this? I mean,
well, it's been a little over 6 years.
All right.
Doubled up on a couple seasons, so season 8 sounds even better than 6 years. But that's still a long run, and I'm happy to say I keep it very humble and very real because it's a fabulous show. I have a lot of fun making it. It is as much fun to make the show as it looks like when you watch the show. And it's slowly progressed over the years to be like, are you the Cash Cab guy? To finally, are you Adam Growe? Like, it's just recently a couple people actually know my name. And I like to joke that I can go places where, you know, not everybody knows who I am, but at least somebody knows.
Right.
At every location I go, which is nice. It's a fun thing for me still, and I hope it never gets tired.
Well, my mother says hi. And,
all right.
She doesn't know a lot of people, but she knows Adam Growe.
All right.
Well, and so then otherwise you're doing the quiz show. I mean, where did that get born from? When did you start that?
Well, it was a natural progression for me because I'd been a stand-up comic for almost 15 years by the time I was the host of Cash Cab. And so then when I got Cash Cab, I was like, well, you know, this whole thing is a gas, and why not marry actually 3 things together? I was a stand-up comic. I also had a digital audio production company where I was writing a lot of trivia-related content before Cash Cab even came along, and all of a sudden I'm like, hey, now I'm hosting a show. And the audio content I was producing, Andrew, was actually for people to listen to while they were mobile in a vehicle, like on a road trip, right? So I'm like, oh, so now I get the host job of a television show where I'm driving people around asking them trivia questions. I'm like, put everything on the back burner. This Cash Cab thing is going to be fantastic. And indeed, it's been a lot of fun. So as I was doing that, with corporate shows and club shows and university shows and theater shows, I thought, why not marry the trivia persona with my stand-up and make a comedy-related quiz show? So it's a comedy show with a trivia twist. I do reward my audience contestants who come up on stage for their knowledge with cash, but there's always kind of a humorous bent to it.
Right.
So the idea is to keep the entire audience engaged. I'll ask questions that might be interesting for the contestants to try to, you know, battle it out amongst each other, or is the audience going to help them win the money or anything like that? And I always have, you know, humorous hints to get to the answer. So I'll give you one of my classic Adam Growe Quiz Show questions. And I use this now as my warm-up because it was one of the first questions I ever wrote for the quiz show, for the live show. I'll ask you. In Style magazine has called them the sexiest couple alive. Who are they, and what is their cutesy nickname? So someone might answer the question, and if they give me an answer, they might win $50. But if they're not quite sure, or even if they give me the correct answer, I always give them the hints, which are, is it Hollywood's Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, Brangelina? Or is it Washington's Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, Barama Lama? Or is it The Hangover's Zach Galifianakis in a love triangle with Rihanna and Lady Gaga, Galifianakis Gagafanakis? Or boy band member Nick Carter and Britain's Got Talent star Susan Boyle, Backstreet Boyles? Right, so they always get the money for the correct answer, and some of the questions are really easy, and some of them are harder, and sometimes I might pick a question about Justin Bieber when I got a couple of biker dudes that are my contestants, right? So that people can kind of go, oh my, there's no way they're going to know this, and then they're amazed if they do know it, right? So that's the kind of feel for the show. Plus, in between games, you get stand-up comedy, and in fact, for the June 8th show at the Randolph in Toronto, won't necessarily be the same for every show I do across the country or throughout North America, but this one I'm bringing out all the stops, right? So I've got guest acts. I've got Pete Zedlacker and Laurie Elliott coming to do some stand-up.
Amazing.
And what I'll do is I'll bring them out for a set, and then I'll do a little, you know, chitty-chatty with them, trivia related to what they're up to, right? Kind of lead into, you know, either their CD or something that they've got going on. Then I've got a singer, Stacey Kaniuk, who's going to come in and sing a song.
Wow.
So I'm going to interview her with some trivia about what she does. And then I've also got former Carolina Hurricane player and Toronto Maple Leaf, Jeff O'Neill, coming.
Wow.
So I'll do some sports-related trivia with him. So it's like a show, but within the show, there's the trivia base for everything. So it's going to be gangbusters.
Well, you know, that makes me ask, have you ever thought of doing, like, Canada's Tonight Show. I mean, we haven't had a good, you know, it's been years since we've really had one of those format shows for late night.
Well, that's the plan.
That is
right?
the plan.
That's the
That would be
intent.
awesome.
That's what I would love to have. And I figured for the guy like me, because Canada has learned, like you look at a very talented guy like Mike Bullard.
Right.
You look at Ralph Ben Murgy from years ago. These are guys that are extremely talented hosts and extremely funny, and for whatever reason, and they might not be the only ones. Rick Mercer, for instance, is the closest we've got right now. Ron James has a variety sketch show, but it's not quite the Tonight Show or Letterman feel. So there's got to be a nut to crack there. We've got to find a solution. But the reality is that those are big budget shows, and so most Canadian comics are like, we're never going to be able to compete with Jon Stewart and Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel, really, in terms of budget, dollars per dollars, and the market. So I figured if a guy like me even has a chance of being that guy, it would be using the platform of trivia and doing something different to kind of host into that environment, and quick and fun and keep it moving, but the same kind of feel so that guests can come on the show. And so I'm hoping that it sticks, and that's why I'm doing it across multimedia. I've got YouTube games up right now that are very similar to that. I've got the live show, and I'm taping that as a demo for that, and I do it in the corporate world, and you know, the corporate world, you know, eats it up, you know, because I'm able to interview the CEO for the company and bring a trivia base and then bring it home as the cash cap guy. I mean,
that's cool.
It's just a lot of fun.
Well, I mean, the quiz show format, that's cool, bringing kind of that variety format into that. I mean, it seems ideal to kind of play with that and build it there. Well,
people are having a lot of fun with it. It's still kind of new. It kind of reminds me when someone comes and sees a stand-up comedy show. Stand-up comedy scene, unless it's a big name, and at a big venue, it's like one of those things. It's not the first priority when people have their entertainment dollars all the time. Sometimes they'll go to a concert or the symphony or, you know, a rock show. And every time someone comes up to me after a stand-up comedy show, whether it be doing a club or a theater, they're like, "Wow, that was so much fun. I can't believe I don't go to stand-up more often." And I'm like, "Well, when's the last?" And they, "I haven't been to a show in like 9 months." I'm like, "Well, come back again." So I feel the same way with the quiz show. People are like, "I don't really know what to expect." I was kind of going, is it a trivia night? Is it like going to the bar and playing those trivia games? I'm like, "Well, you got to come and check it out." And they come out of my Adam Growe Quiz Show and they go, "Wow, that was I didn't know what to expect, but that was just awesome. That was so much fun." I go, "Well, come again. Don't wait 9 months." And the beauty of that is I can change up the questions, so shows can be very different.
Well, that's what I was going to say too. If you've got guests too, it changes the format every single time you do the show almost.
Yeah.
So what's the weirdest things that's happened? I mean, between the quiz show, you know, and Cash Cab, has there been some really weird stories? Because I feel like there must be some oddities.
Well, in terms of making the show, I always like to have fun and keep it real as a Canadian entertainer, and I know that we like to give ourselves a hard time, but the reality is that it's a very humble existence being a celebrity in this country. So one of the stories that I like to tell about what it's like to be a Canadian celebrity is I was flying to a corporate gig actually, you know, from Toronto to the East Coast, Halifax or something. And I'm, you know, on my own, and I'm getting on the flight, and I walk up to the gate to check in to board, and the flight attendant who's collecting the you know, passes, the boarding passes and passports, takes my stuff, and she's like, "Oh, hi," and I don't know what came over me, but I was all of a sudden like, "Well, hi," you know, like recognizing me in the airport right on, and she's like, "Well, I see you're traveling economy class, but let me see if I can bump it up," you know, and I was like, "All right, thanks a lot." And I am not that guy, Andrew, but I was seriously going, "All right, see what you can do." She checked it out and she said, "Sorry, there's nothing available, but maybe next time." And I was like, "No problem." So I get on the flight, I do my gig in Halifax or wherever it was. I come back a couple days later. My wife comes back from you know, dropping off the kids at school, and she goes, "You never told me you bumped into Oliver's mom when you checked into your flight to Halifax." And I was like, "It wasn't a fan, it was another parent from my school trying to give a guy a break," right? So I'm like, and she's probably like, "What's with the," you know, she's like, "I'm just trying to bump you up to," and I didn't recognize her out of context. Right. So that's what it's like being the celebrity that is Adam Growe.
You never know who you're going to run into.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Cheers.